your mother, or you married your dad, or you married. Oh, now here we go. Now we're going all over again. Start again. Hey, we're live here on YouTube. So I want to restart this whole thing over again. So give me a heart on this, guys. All right, YouTube guys. Hey, relationships. Groomed to be doomed, and how to stop it. And you didn't even know you're groomed to be doomed, and you didn't know why you got problems. And maybe you do know why you got problems. And the reason why you know you got problems is because you got problems. And yet, I don't know about you, growing up as a child, I thought my family was normal, even though I wasn't so happy. But it was my normal. And my normal was the normal that I thought it was. So here it is. I am dealing with my life. And I remember as a child, we visited one of my friend's house. And we were there for dinner, and they reached around the table and held hands and prayed. I thought, man, this is a weird family. I kind of got scared because that was normal for them, but my normal was not normal to them probably. And so here it is. We are groomed to be doomed. Now, the only reason why I say doomed is because we have a tendency to repeat our programming from our childhood. Which means, somebody said, hey, you married your mom, you married your dad. And, some of the, when I'm out dating, someone said, well, they have daddy issues. I said, hold on a second. Name one person on the planet who doesn't have daddy issues or mama issues. It seems like we all do. And the bizarre thing is, those of you or those of us who figured out how to change our own issues, we figured out how to change our own life. But it's by no mistake. So this is just how it works. So if you understand that, those of you on Facebook, give me a thumbs up. And those of you on YouTube, say yes, sir, amen, something. I hope this makes sense. Give me a thumbs up. So, groomed to be doomed. Now, I want you to think about it, as I said earlier. Here it is. Your parents or your grandfather, whoever raised you, they groomed you. They changed your diaper, they fed you, they told you bedtime stories, and they're fully responsible for you. They have this great burden to raise you the way they think you should grow up to be. Now, of course, if your mother had problems, emotional issues, or your father had emotional issues, or your brother, I know I was working with this one lady. We're talking about relationships and groomed to be doomed. This one lady, for example, she had a brother who hated her. She was born, she got all the attention, and so he tried to kill her. Of course, no one else was looking. They was on the bunk beds. He knocked her off. He said, and then blamed her for it. And so next thing you know, now she's in her 40s and 50s, and she keeps dating someone just like her brother. Not knowingly, not intentionally, but it happens. Hey guys from Budapest, those of you from Cyprus, good to see you. But here's the deal. Here's a perfect story. This is Audrey. She says, my father, I suffered PTSD from his abuse. I had depression for most of my life, and now I have bipolar 2 and anxiety. There has been many, many people like him in my life. My partners, my sister, my female friends. They keep showing up. All right, now again, where did it all come from? Here it is. This is your daddy. He's training you, teaching you, grooming you to have the same problem. Now, it doesn't start with your dad. It doesn't end with your dad. There's a really good quote that I think is really great. It's not your past. Now, it's you. It's your patterns. It's your programs. And if you don't know how to change your patterns and your programs, you're just like, as I would call, a trance monkey or a robot repeating the same cycle. Now, the reason why you repeat the same cycle is because inside you have the programming. You have the emotional conditioning all your life. And now today, without even thinking, you pick the right person, the perfect person. I remember Sue LaRue, and I hope she sees this. She said this, my daughter-in-law was my mother, my father, and all my ex-husbands all rolled up in one person. Because we have a tendency to keep repeating and experiencing our own stuff. Now, by the way, it may not even be her daughter. It may be her own stuff. And you know what? It is her own stuff. Because she's automatically responding to the stimulus. By the way, if you know how to change the stimulus, you also know how to change your whole life. Your response to the stimulus. Not go out and kill your daughter or beat your husband up or your ex-husband or your mother. That won't work because you're acting just like them. What you want to do is change how you feel. Change how you respond. Change the patterns, because the truth is, you're going to pick and you're going to respond based on your own belief system. This belief system was indoctrinated. It was groomed. It was fed. It was repeated over and over again, and you are following suit. So, we talk about, here she's talking about, I have PTSD, I have diagnoses of these all kinds, and I have complex PTSD. Now, what in the world are these diagnoses? These are, experts who understand and see behavioral patterns, and they'll give you a diagnosis. Now, here it is. If you cannot change the resource, which are the memories, you'll be stuck with a repeating pattern. What you want to do is figure out how to change your own head. And knowing how to change your own head, changing your memories and your references, next thing you know, your relationships will improve. They will start to change. They'll start to shift and adjust into something healthier. This is what you want to do. This is your power. This is your strength. Knowing how to change you. You cannot change other people. You can impact them by your changes, just like your parents had impacted you. They impacted you, but you've got to take ownership today about you. So, groomed to be doomed. What does that mean? If you come from an emotional environment, everyone has an environment. We all have our environment. We have our mom and our dad players, and they teach us and train us how to have relationships. Now, again, not all the relationships are bad, because you have to understand. Now, granted, some have severe stuff and they leave as soon as they can at 14, 15 years old. But sometimes, we train our children. Our mothers have trained us, and our fathers. They do have what you call their triggers. You trigger their problem. They blow up, they spank you, they beat you, they do whatever they do. They send you in the corner, and then they wake up from their crazy trance and say, oh my God, what did I do? So then they go and try to hug you and try to console you, try to make it better. But you're still holding on to it. You're still holding on to this pain. You're still holding on to this, and now you got your fists up, and now you'll never trust them because it's going to happen again. And then had happened again, over and over again. And therefore, we create a belief system about relationships, and then we have a tendency to repeat that relationship style because we take our belief system with us. Does that make sense, guys? Give me a thumbs up. Does that make sense? Hey, Mert. Hey, Joanne. Does that make sense? Give me a thumbs up or a heart or something. Now, if you understand this, understanding will not change your problems. You have to understand that. Logic will never solve your emotional issues. It would be nice if you could. Okay, logically, I know the past is over. It doesn't exist. I know I don't live with my parents anymore. I know I'm repeating a pattern. It should stop. That's insight therapy, known as psychotherapy. Knowing why, how, and what doesn't end it. But there is one way to end the crazy cycle. And that is understanding that your unconscious mind captured the memory, and inside the memory, it has emotional links, belief systems, and structures inside of it. If you know how to go inside this system, which is your thinking system, and pull away the emotional links, the value system that you created from this relationship, and once you do that, then you can change your life. You can restructure your whole life. This is how you do it. Of course, there are not very many systems out there that are effective in changing the belief system. And that's because they don't understand how the mind works. I mean, the simple idea that we have I mean, you've heard it, you know, you hear a lot of psychotherapists and all these different guys talk about you're imprinted the first 7 years of your life. That's not 100% true. You are 7 years plus the rest of your life. Because, see, you can be imprinted. You may have a perfect, loving family that were really, I mean, saints on earth. I don't think they exist. But then at 12 years old or 13 years old, you go to school or new kids at school, and they start picking on you because you have this birth defect called beauty. Now, I don't know about some of you. I've never had that problem, being beautiful, and they picked on you because I'm beautiful. But some women and some men have been picked on and beat up, traumatized just because they were smarter or they were prettier or they were the smartest kid in class. Or better yet, you look differently. Now, all of a sudden, this imprint controls and creates an ideology about self, and from that point forward, the relationship from hell. Now you're beat into a miserable mess. And the weird thing is, I remember working with this guy. He's he had a seemingly good family, and he started school, and a new kid started school, and this kid, every day he rode the bus, picked on him, thumped him in the head, pulled his pants down, beat him up, humiliate him every day going back to school. Now, he's done going to school for many years. Now, let me ask you, is this not emotional indoctrination? Creating a belief system, creating a fear system, and next thing you know, he's going throughout his whole life thinking somebody's out to hurt him? This is emotional training. And the weird thing is that you have to understand there's a part of our brain called the reptilian brain. Reptilian brain is basically, it's a survival brain. And so based on his programming and his experience, this kicks in, and all of a sudden they're operating in their life looking for somebody to hurt you, someone to torment you. And if you've been beat up and traumatized by your brother or your sister, you had a traumatic experience or a severe emotional experience, and your brain holds on to this, the survival part of your brain, you're still going to repeat, and you're going to walk around like your fists are up. You're always tense and looking for a fight, and yet there's only been one fight, and it happened, but you held on to this, and you replayed this, and then you repeat this in your relationships, you repeat this at work, and you create an ideology about yourself. So this is the foundation of how your unconscious mind will create bad problems, a mess in your life. Now, I know this makes sense. Am I making sense? This is good sense. And even though it makes sense, the good sense that you need is have enough sense to go in and change your own programming. Change your own mind. Knowing how your mind works and knowing how you are imprinted, not the first 7 years, but your whole life. And knowing how to go and re-imprint yourself. Re-imprint your mind. Memory reconsolidation. Because you can change your whole life from this point forward by merely going to those issues and the belief system and the stories that come out of your mouth and what you look for and what you continuously practice in your mind. As you change this, you'll start to create health. You'll start to create loving relationships. You can create more money in your life. Your life will be more abundant because the abundance comes from your limited or unlimited belief systems that you were groomed throughout your whole life. You know, if you come from a structural system. Now, it's interesting that, we talk about, there's an idea floating around called narcissist and narcissism. And, I look at this, I've been studying this, I'm thinking, this is so interesting. How does all this work and the mechanics of it? You think about it. Here it is. You've got a pair of people, mom and dad, and they are so controllers. Their responsibility is dumped on them to make sure you grow up to be the way they think you grow up. And they become major controllers in your life. They make sure they watch over you. They control you. They punish you. They blame you. If they have emotional issues, their own emotional issues, they dump this on top of you. And then next thing you know, you're going to grow up to be just like them. Because my personal understanding about narcissism, everyone's narcissistic. Now, those who are severely abusive narcissists, they're the ones who've had the worst stuff. And they justify it. They justify it because this is how I was raised up and my way is the right way. And this is the bizarreness of it. So I venture to say our problems, our programs coming from our past, even though it's not the past today that's making you have a problem. It is only what you're holding and carrying inside yourself. All right? Now, Leanna, she says, well, how long does it take to clean this mess up? All right? This is how long, however long it takes. Now, by the way, let me ask you, if you have a spoon and you need to dig a ditch in your yard 100 feet long and 4 feet deep, how long will it take you to dig that ditch? Quite some time, because if you don't have the right knowledge, skill, and understanding of how your brain works, you can't do something very fast. Now, there's a lot of people been in years and years of therapy. They tried everything. You name it, they tried it. But there's something about what I'm saying makes sense. And then also knowing the mechanics of what's going on inside your mind, then you can have like what I'd call the ditch digger, as a big old diesel power tool, and you just go right in there and start cleaning it up. Now, of course, each mind, each memory, each person may have many memories. And how long does it take? Well, it depends on how you process, hold, and represent those memories. Now, if you're doing it by yourself, you can. It just takes longer. Because, see, the problem with your own problems is that your problems are real to you. When you think about them, it feels real to you. And it's harder to unprogram yourself because you're too much in yourself. That's why I highly recommend a skilled practitioner, skilled and trained by me, who's been through my newest training, the Utaptics training system. And Utaptics is FasterEFT with a lot more professionalism, deeper, more thorough. And if you want a better life, it starts with a better way of processing your information. It starts with knowing how to change your thoughts, change your mind, change your life. So FasterEFT.com, go to my website, find you a local practitioner. A lot of them do Skype sessions. I do Skype sessions. Well, I do them. I've sold a bunch of programs here lately, some 10-hour programs, and I'm telling you what, we're making some big changes. Working with individuals with OCD, physical, internal illnesses, and it's fading, and it's no mystery why we have problems. The mystery is ended. This is the problem. Internal representation. How you hold it, how you represent it, and what you say to yourself. All right, so what we got here? Daniel says, greeting from Canada. My mother and I have been tapping and working on our shit. That's good, very smart. Over the phone, and we've healed so much fast. Let's see, Merritt says, I have found the roots of my social anxiety, and it does back to my childhood trauma. It all does. Matter of fact, let me tell you something. All these diagnoses or disorders given by the psychological community, they all start in our childhood. They all start in childhood, teenage years. It starts with a trauma. It starts with a war memory. It starts with something. And it's not a disease. I mean, you think about it. Here it is. You're a normal everyday guy or a normal everyday girl. They put a gun in your hand and all your buddies are killed. Now disease kicks in. It's not a disease. It's an inability to deal with what happened, and your mind starts playing tricks on you, and it starts wearing you out. You keep going back. It's not an illness. It's an internal process of information, and that information is trying to keep you safe from the bad stuff. But then again, you're still living in your past. You still got your guns up and your fists up, trying to be safe. Going in and changing your mind will change your life, period. All right. Let's see what somebody else says. I got so many memories coming up in one topic. Where do I start? With the earliest one. Yes, you can start with the earliest one, or you can start where you are today. Again, you have to understand, today's problems were groomed. You're not doomed unless you change the problem. So today's reaction is a success from your unconscious mind, keep you in alignment with the programming. Once you change the programming, which I go to the earliest one. Now some of you super sensitive, you're not able to handle and cope with what's going on in your world, you got too much stuff, and to you it seems too big and real, then what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to go slower. You're going to have to work it from afar. You need to understand how to do this. And the only way to learn how to do this is go to an expert and knows what they're talking about. And that is because there's a lot of people talking about PTSD and trauma and all this stuff. And let me tell you something, it's built on a model of thinking that is not effective. It takes a long time. And I don't know about you, I don't want to spend all my money in therapy. I want to go out there and have fun. I want to go out there and start living my life and creating my life from the inside out. So again, always seek your medical community, always seek your doctors for anything you do. And if you're on medication, stay on your medication. And if you decide you want to get off, ask your doctor how to do that. Be smart. Very important to understand that. Now let me remind you, I'm not a psychotherapist. I have no psychological training. I'm just a normal everyday guy who just figured it out. All right, so let's see, we got another question here. If you have an emotional moment but don't know what triggered it, do you defract? Now you're using languages that FasterEFT uses, which is defractionation, to stop the thoughts or stay in it and try to break up the memory. All right, so here's the deal. Now you have to understand how the mind works. We operate from hypnosis to hypnosis to hypnosis. You're always in a trance. So when you go to a past memory or you're being triggered today, it's a hypnotic state and you're being triggered. You've got to figure out how to dismantle these triggers or this hypnosis and then change it and rewrite it. So it's quite, as somebody says here, Helen says, it's quite a shame that the mental institutions don't think of outside the box. Well, again, you have to understand the mental institutions or the mental community are learning every year. It's slow. They got to have proof and they got to have all this stuff and a lot of background. I mean, you look at some of the things like CBT. Now, CBT is effective. It takes a long time, many months, many years, and it is effective, but it took them a long time to get that in there. EMDR, it works. It's slow. It does create some changes. Again, it's drawn out. So again, it is moving into the medical community and the psychological community, but again, it's slow. Because again, you understand there's a lot of red tape, there's a lot of stuff. NLP has been around for a long time, which is the real structure of thinking, how the mind works. And if you don't understand how your mind works, you're going to be trying to swat flies in the dark. It's very difficult, and you do get changes by accident and sometimes intentionally if you understand it. All right, so let's see what we got here. Well, how long I've been on this thing? I can't tell how long I've been here going. Oh, yeah, it's 30 minutes. Okay, good. So what we got here, James says, where do I find an inexpensive skilled practitioner? Well, first of all, you get what you pay for. That's one thing I have learned over the years. Go cheap, you get cheap, But I will say this, if you want a practitioner, get a FasterEFT practitioner. I just received a message. Let me see here. I'll read this message. It's actually from a practitioner. Name will be withheld. And it's very interesting. This woman who's a psychologist came to a FasterEFT practitioner who she was seeing, and a psychologist who's using EFT. And after the session, she got an email saying, oh my God, so many fast changes in a short period of time. Because we do know how the mind works. We do know how to create the changes. And we do make those changes. And the cool thing is that we understand the structure. Now there's a lot of good practitioners out there. There's a lot of good practitioners, a lot of different therapies. Now I always said about therapies, all therapies are helpful and beneficial, which we're talking about EFT, NLP, psychology, psyche, hypnosis, bloodletting, lobotomies, psychotherapy, all church therapy, alcohol therapy, AA therapy, are all good because people can and do get changes in all of them. Some of them takes a long time to get the results, others are much faster, and some are a lot cheaper, and it may take you forever. But I don't know about you, I don't want to spend all my time in therapy, and I want to be in control of my life. I want to be able to be empowered enough that I can do it myself without having somebody else to always be dependent upon, which means our system, my training system, your Taptics training system, and FasterEFT, our whole goal in practitioners is teach them how to work on themselves. I have an online level 1 training course, and in this course, the whole purpose of it is lay the foundation, how the mind works, how it operates, and then have you go in and change your own mind. So we're building skill and perfection within ourselves to heal ourselves. Because I believe that you should be self-sufficient, be able to take control of your life and build the life you want. And so I will put a link here under this video. I'll put it on, and if you really want to take your life in your own hands and create the life you always want, the best way is know how your mind works. And when you get that, everything is better. And so I hope that makes sense to you. I don't know about you. I like things that make sense. Those of you on YouTube, those of you on Facebook, look at my testimonials. Look at these people. These are real people. Look at what I say. It makes good sense because it is good sense. There's a lot of people who don't make much sense. But yet, since a lot of people are so desperate or willing to do anything, they will try anything. And you know, they have. And so what we want to do is we want something that works. And I want you to take control of your life. I want you to love you from inside your mind and create the relationship with money. Create the relationship with yourself. Create the relationship with people around you to where it's healthy. And it all starts with knowing what you're doing inside. And if you know what you're doing inside, you can change you. It's kind of like what I've said before. Like I have this camera here. Of course, I like cameras. I'm a photographer. I can take it apart, I bet. But putting it back together, I'm not skilled and trained. If I want to change something in here, I can't do it. And the reason is I'm not skilled. And if you're not skilled in doing something, you're going to be wasting a lot of time trying to get something done, and it'll never get done because you're using a spoon to dig a ditch 100 feet long and 4 feet deep. It's going to take you forever. I have things better to do. I want my life to be better, and it starts with me. So I hope this all makes sense to you guys. I do have seminars coming up. If you really want to get the life you want, start investing in your mind. Start changing what isn't good in your mind. Francis says, want to bring them on as a guest. I'm not sure what that is. Yeah, I do a lot of tapping. I do a lot of sessions. I do, those of you, by the way, this is what happens in a seminar. Like, for example, we got a relationship seminar in Virginia. The relationship seminar is, I should rename it. It's not just relationship. It's everything in your life changing seminar. But all our basic problems start with relationship. Your mother, your dad, your ex-husband, your ex-wife, your big brother, whoever it was that tormented you, traumatized you, impacted you. When you change this, you become free. That's in Virginia in November. Guys, it is the best thing that you can do. I've always said this to all my practitioners. I say it to you and I say it to me. If you want to change your life, work on all your relationships. That's the past relationships, the people who hurt you the worst. Virginia seminar is in November. Go to FasterEFT.com, click on events, and you can see that. Also, I have a seminar, Heal Your Body. Those of you probably who've seen my testimonials here on YouTube, we're talking about people 4 years later, 5 years later, they were severely ill when they started. They're not ill anymore. The pains are gone. It works. The mind will express and hold in the body its hurts. And if you know how to change your mind, you can change your body. I have a seminar in Las Vegas. It is a 4-day seminar about how to heal your body. Actually, how to change your mind, your body follows. When you change the hurts inside your mind, you can heal your body. Your mind will do it. And scientifically, it's been proven the mind has this great ability to heal itself, and you see it in a lot of research. They don't call it that, they call it the placebo. But the placebo is the mind's great ability to heal itself in spite of the fake drugs or the fake operation. And of course, nocebo is the mind's great ability to not heal because of its own belief system. So knowing the mechanics of the mind will change your life. All right, so anyway, I'm going to get off this thing. I want to say, tap on yourself, like yourself, be nice inside yourself, and what you do inside yourself, you do to other people. What you do up here will affect your health and your body. Listen, guys, The best gift you could give your family, the best gift you can give the world is a healthier you. Invest in you. And when you invest in you, you'll impact your children. You impact those around you. You impact the world. Come, be a part of my team. Help us change the world one person at a time, starting with ourselves and touching everyone else in our life. Thumbs up, guys. Hope you like this. Keep tapping on yourself. Come to the seminar, give me a big hug, and we'll see you there. Talk to you later. Peace. Okay, I got one. All right, that's done. And then we'll do this one here. Stop streaming. See you guys on YouTube. Hey, keep tapping, share these videos, and we'll talk to you later. Peace. Stop streaming. Talk to you. Why it's not stopping.